What's up, y'all? Here's some microwave corn on the cob. It was so great. But anyway, I just finished listening to a book that's been on my mind for a long time. Lose Well by Chris Gethard. And I originally read this, gosh, maybe back in 2017, 2018. I was a massive fan of Chris Gethard. I think first heard of him through Beautiful Anonymous, his podcast where he has like anonymous calls with strangers. But he's a comedian, and I really fell in love with the Chris Gethard show right when I got into it. It was when it like was getting a little more mainstream success, but it was just this beautiful public access spectacle, internet community, just like punk rock DIY. And I really Chris Gethard's one of my favorite comedians of all time. Um, and this is his book that's a bit of a memoir, I guess, and it's in his ending of the book, in his conclusion, he realized how much this whole book is like a eulogy for the Chris Gethard show, because it's called Lose Well, and it's kind of just about weathering adversities and getting knocked down and keeping true to your artistic vision and playing up to your skills. And there's a lot more I could say about that. But this book was the last book I ever recommended to Riley. They had paid for an Audible subscription and had a few more book credits, and were asking me for a recommendation. They wanted to listen to something, so that's just what I gave them because I thought about it, and it's one that I feel like I got a lot of stuff from a couple years before, and this was a time where they were struggling, but also motivated to kind of work on themselves and just to learn and do a lot of healing. And so I was really grateful that they asked me for a rec. And obviously, in the wake of their death, I've been thinking about this a lot because I also knew that they were struggling with reading. So I don't even know if they ended up listening to Lose Well. But I've been thinking about it and just knowing, like, gosh, I'm going to have to reread that at some point, and I really want to. But I'm also kind of avoiding it and dreading it because, oh gosh, what if it's crappy, or what if it's like there's something this comedian from 2017 says that like really sucks, and I don't know. And it was just like, because Riley's dead, I can't ask them, and so I was only thinking of all like the negative outcomes, I think, which makes sense. I'm a bit of a catastrophizer. Um, but so this book, I have it on my shelf, but I really haven't touched it. And there's a few other books that I'm similarly definitely gonna read that will make me think of Riley a lot. But the time hasn't come yet. But this one, I was so glad. I was like, oh my gosh, I bet the audiobook. I've been doing a lot of audiobooks, and I bet the audiobook is in Libby. And I was able to borrow it and just finished it, and oh my gosh, it was so great. Like, I felt very motivated and inspired by Chris and the Chris Gethard show, and just a lot of the things he was talking about, which makes sense because it's been a big factor for me and my creation, even though I really fell off like after like 2017, 2018, 2019. I wasn't listening to Beautiful Anonymous anymore, and I would like see him doing cool stuff, but I just hadn't been in that same audience base. But just always like so grateful for when I was, and just knowing like how big of a inspiration his stuff is, and just how earnest and community oriented he is. And also talked a lot about like mental health stuff and stigma. His special career suicide is really great. But anyway, listening to Lose Well was great because, for one, I actually read it and listened to it. And then also, like, in listening to it, I was like, if Riley did listen to this and either they didn't just talk, they didn't say anything, which is fine, or they just listened to a little bit and they felt bad they didn't finish it, like, regardless of if they did or not, I'm still like, wow, that was a good recommendation. And there wasn't anything that would have been like intense or triggering. Um, and so that just felt really good to finish. And then what do you know, because it's an audiobook, they did special interviews with some of Chris's friends and family and people through the stories. And oh my gosh, those at the end were just creme de la creme. Those weren't in the book. And it was so great. And he even interviewed his weird older brother, his weird smart older brother. And like listening to that was so nice. And I didn't have intense angry envy and jealousy as much as I would fear I would, because that's something I can't do with Riley right now. But more, it was just like so loving, and I definitely see Riley and I in them. And yeah, it was just such a little gold nugget that I got like the bonus features because I listened to the audiobook. And it's nice, like, not being scared of this thing I knew I was gonna like, but worried about the emotional intensity. And yeah, I hope Riley at least got something out of that. But at the very least, I feel good about that recommendation, and that they asked me for a recommendation. It was really special. Anyway, go read or listen to a book or an article or something that someone put a lot of thought into, because there's a lot of thoughtless slop, and Lord knows I love some thoughtless slop, but get some brain fiber in your media diet. I highly recommend it. And a memoir is a great way to get in someone else's brain a little bit and just experience how it is being human from a little different perspective. But honestly, whenever I read a memoir, I just feel so much connection. So that's my book report for the day. See you later.